Have you ever wondered what it takes to turn a crowd of freed slaves into a unified, functioning nation? It's not just about breaking chains. It's about building a foundation. For the ancient Israelites, that foundational moment happened at the foot of a shaking, smoking mountain. This is the story of Mount Sinai, where a divine constitution was given that would shape history forever. 3 long months after their dramatic escape from Egypt, the Israelites arrived in the Sinai desert. Imagine the scene: a vast expanse of sand and rock, and in the distance, the imposing peak of Mount Sinai. The air wasn't just dry, it was thick with anticipation. God told Moses to prepare the people because something extraordinary was about to happen. He was going to descend and speak to them directly. The mountain itself was cordoned off, declared holy ground. No person or animal could touch it. Then, on the morning of the 3rd day, the show began. A dense cloud enveloped the summit. Thunder cracked, lightning flashed across the sky, and a trumpet blast, impossibly loud, echoed through the valley. The ground itself trembled. Out of this awe-inspiring chaos, a voice spoke, a voice that cut through the noise. "I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, where you were slaves." From the fire and smoke, God proclaimed the 10 Commandments. These weren't just a random list of rules. They were the blueprint for a life of true freedom. The first 4 commandments were about their relationship with God. First, worship no God but me. After centuries surrounded by the countless gods of Egypt, this was a radical call to an exclusive relationship. Second, God forbade making idols. He wanted a connection based on faith and truth, not on statues of wood or stone. Third, they were told not to misuse God's name. His name represented his very character and authority. It wasn't to be thrown around casually or used for selfish purposes. And fourth, the gift of the Sabbath. In Egypt, they were workhorses. Now, God commanded a day of rest, a weekly reminder that he was their provider and that their value wasn't tied to their productivity. The next 6 commandments focused on how they should treat each other, forming the bedrock of a just and stable society. It started with family. Respect your father and your mother. Then came the foundational principles for community life: do not murder, protecting the sanctity of life, do not commit adultery, guarding the sanctity of marriage, do not steal, establishing the right to property, and do not accuse anyone falsely, upholding the integrity of truth. But the 10th commandment was different. It didn't address an action but a thought, a desire. Do not desire another man's house, ease, wife, or anything else that he owns. This struck at the very root of conflict: coveting or greed. It was a law for the heart, a call to find contentment and celebrate what others have, rather than wanting it for yourself. As the voice of God spoke these words, the people were overwhelmed. The thunder, the fire, the shaking mountain heat was too much. They stood back, trembling, and begged Moses, "You speak to us, and we will listen. But do not let God speak to us, or we will die." They finally understood that these laws were a reflection of God's perfect, untouchable holiness. Moses reassured them, explaining that God's presence wasn't meant to destroy them, but to test them, to instill a healthy respect that would keep them from falling back into chaos and sin. Later, Moses wrote down all of God's words and read them to the people. In one voice, they responded, "We will do everything that the Lord has commanded." To formalize this covenant, this binding agreement, Moses built an altar. He performed a ritual, sprinkling the blood of a sacrifice on the people, signifying that the contract was sealed. These 10 commandments, this divine constitution, were then engraved by the finger of God onto 2 stone tablets. These tablets would be carried in the Ark of the Covenant, a constant, physical reminder of the law that now governed them. This was the moment a mob became a nation, ruled not by a human king's whim, but by a moral code from God himself. A code that applied to everyone, from the leader to the least. Thanks for watching. If the story inspires you, please like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into these foundational events. See you next time.